Right, lucky people, carrying on with Trevor's top tips. I'm going to show you some of the gear that I use for commercial silvers fishing. Now, I'd like to stress from the start that this is a lot different to the style and gear that the lads that fish on the rivers use, where they're using long whips to hand. This is more in line with commercials, which I do a lot more of, and I don't really know a lot about sort of like the styles that they use on the fence and that, but this is the gear I use for the sort of fishing that I do. Starting with the tips, I use the standard Acolyte tips, which are just under 3 meters for all my fishing on this, and I never go longer than 3.5 meters. I extend them with cut off number 3 Acolyte margin kits, which give me the extra length that I need, but 90% of it is done with the 3 meter kits. I use yellow and green Drennan elastic for my summer bagging rigs, and in the winter I swap that to the green and the blue, in line with the lighter rigs that I use. Now, I may destroy a few myths here, but the hook lengths that I use on these rigs are 8-inch hook lengths, and I actually put a shot on them. Now, I do this because I need to get the shot on occasions quite close to the hook. So to start with, I do most of my rigs on quite robust stuff. Powerline 011, 013 covers pretty much everything that I do for my line. And rig wise, I use AS3s, and for quite a lot of the fishing that I do on this, especially in the summer, they're quite strong, and they shot up well for me what I do anyway. In the winter, I like to go to a finer float. I use the Tubertini sticks, brilliant float, use them for years. I love them. They sit nicely in the winter and they shot up nicely and so delicate. For the shallower fishing, and I apologise to Mick Wilkinson for this, but just recently I've been using F1 Slims, and I've just recently used them at Whiteacres and they were brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Fishing up in the water, can't go wrong at the moment using them. I tried all sorts, but that's what I'm using for my shallower fishing at the moment. Right, shotting. Shotting, I shot up with, this is what I call my starting rig. It's, I don't know if you can see this, but I start with a bulk of, a strung bulk of number 8s, and then down onto the hook length I've got 2 number 10s, and the number 10s get shifted around quite a lot depending on where the fish are in the water. So in line with this, the fact that I do need the shots moving around a lot, I use good old Preston stops. Nice and soft, don't damage the line, so without sort of like too much pressure on the line, it's ideal for this sort of fishing. The bulk themselves, I can be switching this around quite a lot because it can sometimes be better to have them strung out like that, and then other times they can all go together to form a bulk. Being soft, no problem, up and down. It does mean though that after a couple of trips I have to trash the rig and start again, because the shots get sort of like useless after a few trips. But that basically forms the shotting pattern that I use for all the rigs. Elastic wise, I do like it sort of nice and, where possible, to have it nice and loose in the pole without being too long. And to do this, I have lengths of fly line back in to sort of reduce the actual length of elastic in the pole. And this is leader profile back in that I use for that. It just means that you haven't got so much elastic sticking inside the pole. So yeah, that's it. Obviously the lads that fish the rivers are fishing sort of like gram and a half. I've done it myself on the Thames, and you can do that a lot better with that style of fishing. But this is purely for commercial fishing, and I'm reasonably successful at this, and I've got to admit there's a lot of people say you can't do this, you can't do that, but I've got to say that I catch a lot of fish, and it's how I'm doing it. So that's about it really. That's all I'm going to show you. It'd be nice to carry on and do lots of other things, but I've got limited time on this because I'm running out of space on the phone. But there you go. May have to sort of come back and do something else another time, which I can sort of like to do, but for now, see you soon, chaps. Bye.